Welcome to the Daily Present. Wow, I've taken a few days off, and something that I've needed to recharge, and not just recharge my body, but also to recharge my brain as well, having felt a bit overloaded for a little while. But I'm back, and 1st of April, this is no April Fool. This is me coming back with daily shows again. And so with about a week or so off, I hope that you will enjoy tuning in once again, because today I want to talk about competitive speaking, because I have entered the World Championship of Public Speaking. And did you even know that there is a World Championship of Public Speaking? Perhaps you did, perhaps you didn't, but there is. And I'm going to tell you a bit more about it and why I've entered it after the titles. Welcome to the Daily Present with Johnny Ball. Monday to Friday, talking about public speaking and presentation skills and the tools of influence and persuasion. Dance along now.
Wow! Come on, can you groove it over? Let's say it, baby. I know you.
Well, thank you for joining me, and it's great to be back after a little break. It was an unannounced break, but it was very much needed, and I didn't want to stay away for too long, otherwise, might never have come back at all. So let's get back into talking about the Daily Present today, and today I'm talking about competitive speaking, competition speaking. Did you know that every year Toastmasters International hosts a World Championship of Public Speaking? Well, they do, and there are some very worthy winners. Last year, the whole event was virtual. This year as well, we are competing virtually. So we are using Zoom mostly to host these meetings and to host the competitions, and it's been an interesting experience so far. So there are multiple levels to go through in the competition. I have just succeeded in going through the area level, and will next month be competing in the division level. I'm not even sure exactly how many levels there are to potentially go through. However, we'll see if I get through division before I worry too much about that. One of the things that I think is good to note here as well is that I think a lot of people think about entering things like the World Championship of Public Speaking, or they want to have their goal of doing a TED Talk, something like that. These are very common public speaking goals for professional speakers or wannabe professional speakers as well. And they're great. They're great goals to have in many ways. However, do you think that a lot of people tend to want these things for the prestige rather than for anything else? So the reason really to me for entering this is to demonstrate what you can do. For sure, there is an ego element to competition speaking, for sure, but really to deliver something great, to deliver value to your audience. It still should be about them more than it's about you. And I think that's one of the things that if it really is just like you're on some big ego trip and you want to win just to show the world that you are the best speaker out there, or you want to have your TED Talk just to get up on the stage. Time and time again, people who have managed to sort of enter these things and get themselves put forward with that sort of context end up often falling short or feeling embarrassed or doing it before they're really ready to, without the adequate preparation. Because the thing is, if you want to get to the World Championship in anything, it takes a lot of practice and experience. Think about people who reach sporting world championships. They don't just decide one day that, hey, I think I'm going to win the gold medal in the Olympics for shot put. They have to seriously train for it, or they're going to do relay races, or they have to get the team and they have to train. And also, there are probably even more considerations in the sporting world, whereas, as we get older, it becomes harder to compete. Whereas in something like public speaking, as you get older, it may actually become easier, depending on who you are. But competition speaking is an interesting way forward. And if you think about entering these sorts of public speaking contests, or if you're going to enter something like maybe Moth Story Slam, for example, don't expect that it's going to get you where you need to go. There are people for sure who have entered and won the contest their first time out. Like, they've recently joined the Toastmasters organization, they've entered the contest, although you do have to have completed certain levels before you are eligible to compete within Toastmasters. But if you have your strategy and you really have your practice level down as well, it would be a bit like entering yourself into the marathon. Again, you have to do the training beforehand. You have to make the dietary corrections, although there's probably, you don't have to make too many dietary corrections to be a public speaker, but it's a really good idea to be thinking about what your outcome is for this, because being known as a world champion in public speaking might be great for a little while, but in the long run, it's probably not going to be the thing that makes your career. It will initially give you some credibility. People will take interest. People will want to have you on their TV, maybe TV shows, but more likely podcasts and interviews and things like that, that people will be interested, especially within the Toastmasters organization, in what you've achieved. But the real win is to get out there and just do something amazing. Even people who perhaps don't win the contest always are delivering some value, something useful, things that are going to be a resource to their audience. My reasons for competing are really to challenge myself. That's the biggest thing for this. I've been speaking for a long time, and I'm looking to get more and more into doing professional speaking. I had big doubts about whether I was actually going to enter myself this time, because I've just got so many other things going on that I thought this could actually be a distraction. However, having got as far as I've got, and got through the club level very quickly, the sort of basic level of my own club, because I was the only contestant this year. But so the real challenge for me came in going to the contest that I just recently won, where I was competing against different clubs. And again, it's going to be competing against, next competition is going to be competing against the people who won from their area of clubs as well. So it gets more challenging every level that you progress to, and there is no guarantee in competition speaking that the judges are going to like you. Even if you have ostensibly the best speech out there, or you practiced it really well, or you have the most amazing delivery, if you don't connect in the right way with the judges, or you just don't quite deliver what they're looking for, it doesn't mean you don't have an amazing speech. It just means perhaps the judges haven't quite connected in that way. So whoever is judging you is going to depend on your level of success as you go forward, and it is therefore important to have judging panels who are hopefully as unbiased as possible, and maybe cover a reasonable spectrum of people, but that's not always possible to achieve. But just remember, I've lost public speaking contests as well as won them, and losing does not necessarily mean, it doesn't feel good, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong or bad about your speech. It maybe just means the judges didn't see what you wanted them to deliver, or someone else connected with them or connected with what their expectations were in a way that perhaps you didn't. And you may never know exactly why that is, but you keep going, because this is all about your evolution. And even in losses, there is something to learn from that as well. One of the biggest leaps I personally had in my own speaking development was losing a contest. The last time I entered the public speaking world championship, I lost at one of the earlier levels, and really wasn't quite prepared for that. I thought I would go a fair bit further, given my experience and general feedback that I get from people. And so it felt like a bit of a kick. And yet, for me, it was one of the things that propelled me to focus on improving, learning more, and taking a journey of evolution in my own speaking development that I hadn't thought about doing before, or hadn't felt challenged enough to do before. And so it ended up being probably the best thing that could have happened to me. This time I'm hoping to go a bit further, but either way, this is a great thing to compete, to go and connect with new networks, let new people see what you can do and share something valuable with them and have fun. I think that's one of the most important things with this. My goal in the public speaking contest is to have fun and enjoy myself. And so if that could be your goal too, then maybe do it. But don't just enter these things because you think it's going to give you prestige or get you in front of the right people. Doing this or getting your TED Talk or anything like that is like, make sure you are ready for it. Make sure you put in the groundwork and the development, and that you're at a level where you want to see people watching you perform. And because if you think maybe in a year or a couple of years, you're going to be at a level that is going to be a much higher performance level, don't let that stop you from giving it a try anyway. But do think about, well, maybe you do need to put in a bit of the groundwork first. Maybe you need to push yourself that bit harder, get the coaching that you might need, get the development that you might need to be able to compete at those higher levels, and put in the time and the energy and the commitment to your learning and growth. So I think that's probably all I really want to say about competitive speaking. I would encourage you to do it. Like, by all means, if you want to do it, you have to probably join Toastmasters or an organization that does this. Moss Story Slam I mentioned is a storytelling competition, and that is pretty much in the US, although because so much has been online, you may still be able to enter some of their online story slams. And whilst the prizes may be a bit different there, it's still great competitive nature. A little bit different perhaps in the Toastmasters World Championship, where in Moth I think you actually get graded on your performance, so you get scored, and that can be perhaps a bit more damaging to the ego. So be ready for this. Be ready that people just might not like you, or you may not be as developed as you think you are, or you might think you're an amazing storyteller, and other people might disagree with that. Treat it as an opportunity for growth and development, because that's really what it is. Next time you do it, you'll be even better. And who knows, maybe you will enter the first time and win first time out the gate. I wish you luck if you do decide to enter. And if you want some coaching or help around entering public speaking contests or telling great stories, or just being a better on-stage or virtual performer, then please get in touch. I'll be more than happy to help you. Hey, look, for now, you can make sure you're following me on my YouTube channel. Here is the link to make sure that you're doing that. So if you look for Present Influence on YouTube, you will find my channel. Please give me a like to one of these videos, ideally the one you're watching right now. Click subscribe and click that bell icon. You'll get notified every time I go live or post a new video up. Also, why not go and check out some of my videos that are on YouTube already that are about how I've been using the Cicero public speaking cards to help design the speech that I've entered into the contest this year. I'm getting ready to work on the third video. I'm already getting people asking me for that and wanting me to deliver the third video in the series, which is going to be much more about what I've actually put into the speech and the performance. I'm trying to get hold of some of the recordings of the speech as well, so that I can perhaps show some excerpts of that. And as we progress, once it has, if I do get through to the high levels and end up changing my speech, I'll probably publish the whole thing then. In the meantime, have an amazing rest of your day. I'll look forward to seeing you again on another episode of the Daily Present tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow, even though it's Easter. I wish you all a very happy Easter. If Easter's already come and gone when you're watching or listening to this, then I hope you didn't eat too much chocolate and that you're feeling recovered from it. I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe, and make sure you're following me on social media. Check out my other shows, Speaking of Influence and Points of Change. And wherever you are, have an amazing day. Time to get back to work.